So Madam Chair, to confirm, magre-request po ba ng confidential funds for 2025 ang DepEd?
Ito na nga, kinagigilan ng maraming sambayanan. Raoul Manuel, hinahanapan na naman ng buta sa Secretary of Education, Sonny Angara. Pero bago ang lahat, maaari kayong mag-subscribe para maging updated sa mga issue at bagong mga balita. Hindi pa rin nga tumitigil itong si Raoul Manuel sa pagkwe-question patungkol sa 2025 budget para sa DepEd. Naghahanap na naman ito ng panibagong butas para gawa ng issue ang pagbibigay ng budget. Narito ang buong pangyayari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang umaga po sa ating DepEd family. Let me just associate myself, Madam Chair, to the opening remarks of our sponsor when she describes our current weather status with the entry of our Secretary, Sonny Angara. Well, it makes the Beatles song a little bit relevant today. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, I was listening to the manifestation of our good friend and a veteran legislator from Cagayan de Oro City, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, when he also mentioned about one of my favorite Western philosophers, the father of modern philosophy, René Descartes, cogito ergo sum. I think therefore, the reason why I'm saying this, Madam Chair, because it has, though Descartes is a Protestant, but it has a religious symbolism to that statement, cogito ergo sum. As our secretary would know, the first surah chapter in the Quran, which was revealed to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was Suratul Alaq. In English, it means daybreak or dawn. So it represents the emergence of the wisdom and the knowledge that the person needs to acquire. And the first line that was revealed to our Prophet was Ikra. In Arabic, Ikra, it means read. Read. And the succeeding lines, read in the name of thy Lord, who created man from a single clot of blood, who teaches man what he knows not. So, in response to Congressman Rufus' manifestation earlier, the reason why it is innate for every one of us to seek knowledge is because we are trying to get closer to the source of knowledge, which is God. So, I'd just like to ask a question. I don't know which of the undersecretaries would I be directing this question, because I came from a Muslim community, a minority Muslim community. Sometimes these communities are outside of, outside of the reach of the central offices, in this case, DepEd. So I'm more particular about how the DepEd would really push on to include all the marginalized communities, especially those who are in the far-flung areas, and those, especially communities that have been affected by either man-made or natural calamities. So I'm more interested in the program, yung tinatawag po nating Last Mile Schools program, Madam Chair. So before I ask the question to whichever is appropriate undersecretaries to help me understand further, enlighten me as to the status of this program, I'd just like to ask Secretary Angara. I was reading in a news article that came out today, this morning, and you were quoted, actually, Madam Chair, Secretary Angara, about your recommendation to review and reassess the processes in terms of, I guess, the procuring of procurement processes, and to reevaluate the existing policies of your department. May I ask, Madam Chair, if Secretary Angara particularly refers to the Last Mile Schools program, and why does he recommend the reevaluation and review of the existing procurement policies of his department?
Good afternoon, Kong Adyong. Salamat po for your very optimistic words, and salam alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
You're correct, Your Honor, Madam Chair, that is one of the concerns because dito sa last mile schools, the experience on the ground is parang nagugulat yung nagbibid siya ng mababa, tapos nakikita niya napakalayo pala nung lugar. So, madalas ina-abandon niya yung project sa totoo lang. So, I think we have to examine our bidding processes there and ensure that there is enough room for the associated costs, the logistics of building these classrooms. And itong last mile schools, of course, ito nga yung in geographically disadvantaged, isolated and disadvantaged areas or GIDA areas, and there is a budget in the 2025 proposed budget for 10 billion covering 154 school sites. But more generally regarding procurement, I really noticed that mabagal ho kami sa procurement. I think if you notice for 2024, the books are not arriving on time, Your Honor. We're only starting to deliver books now, and the kids are already in school. The completion of the books will be done by December, Your Honor. So, hindi na po pwede. I think we can borrow practices from some other agencies of government who do, nabanggit po yung EPA or yung early procurement activities. This is applicable not only to infrastructure, because to build a classroom is more difficult than building a road, Your Honor, because you have to assess the condition of the soil, you have to validate the school site, you have to check that there is a school title, among others, among many other things. You have to check that if you're building a 5-story school building, that the structure can be supported by the geographical conditions, Your Honor. These are but some of the things we have to do, unlike when we put something for a road. So I've conveyed this to the leadership of the House, and I think that's why they're asking for your lists quite early, and we're very appreciative of this proactive action on the part of the chair, the vice chair, our budget sponsor, our senior vice chair, because working together we can really accelerate the pace, because if we do a status quo type of action, wala hong mangyayari sa atin, Your Honor. We need really to work in tandem, multitask, meaning we're debating the budget, but at the same time, we're also doing the executive or administrative activities like early procurement activities for books, for infrastructure, for computers, doing things like market scoping, discussion with the prospective bidders, short of award, Your Honor, because clearly that's what the DPWH does in many of its infrastructure projects, I understand, Your Honor. Kaya yun po yung nice nating mangyari. And then lastly, dun sa reading ho, unfortunately we're not a reading culture, Your Honor, but I suspect everyone in this room has benefited somehow from reading, meaning our parents read to us, our teachers read to us, and we learned reading at a young age, and we imbibed it and we read on our own so that we progressed in life, Your Honor. So the studies show that the countries who do the best in PISA exams are those where there's a reading culture and the parents read to their children. That's why they check, bakit sa ibang bansa, active naman ang parents sa Parent Teachers Association, nanonood po sila ng soccer game, ng basketball game, nagpapakain naman sila. Pero hindi yun ang effective interventions po. Yung effective intervention, yung basahan natin ang ating mga anak. For teachers, for parents, for communities, we really need to work together to encourage a reading culture in our country. That is the future, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary Angara. Now, you mentioned about the slow and delay process in the bidding process, no? Is it safe to assume, Madam Chair, Secretary, that in the previous, no, itong sinabi mong i-recommend for evaluation, what is the ano, no? How do you proceed with the bidding processes before you procure? Is it centralized ang bidding ninyo, or do you also devolve these functions to your regional and city and provincial offices? Kasi may delay. Ang sabi mo kanina, because of the logistics, sometimes it causes delay because you procure in the central offices, no?
Yes, Your Honor. That's a very good question. Decentralized po yung repairs. Of course, construction is for the DPWH. Pero yung mga repairs of classroom nasa regions po yun. The bidding is also at the regional level, Your Honor. And for furniture, school furniture, that's also at the regional level. Pero yung mga libro, yung mga computers na napag-usapan natin previously is done at the central office. So I think one of the reforms that we can institute is how we can do it at the regional level para mas mabilis po.
Okay, di ba your department is requesting for additional 10 billion pesos to fund the LMSP program. But let's talk about the challenges that you faced in terms of the slow utilization in the budget. According to your submitted summary of appropriations, allotments, obligation, disbursement, and balances, there was an amount of 20.54 billion pesos. Only 50% of that was utilized, no? Which amounts to roughly around 10.29 billion pesos. And this is on top, Madam Chair, this is on top of the budget, the slow completion of facilities. I think the program is aiming to provide for among the 152 sites constructed. There are quite a number of funds that have been reverted. So I'm asking now, Mr. Secretary, or whoever is in charge of this program, which Undersecretary is in charge of the LMS, why is there a slow delay of the completion of these projects, number one, prior to the request of the 10 billion, because there's a sizable amount that you have not been utilized but obligated. I'm just asking, Madam Chair, what really causes the delay in terms of the sites that you have already identified, the completion of these school facilities, and as well as the reversion of some of the funds that have already been allotted to you. Number 3 is also the 73. I think 70 sites have already completed, but out of the 156. Now, this program has been going on since 2022, and this is now the 4th year of this program, if I may say so. So I'm just wondering, Madam Chair, what really is the challenges that you're facing? Is it because of, sabi nga ni Secretary, is it because of the logistics? Is it because there seems to be a problem in terms of the liquidated damages that you have to incur against those suppliers that did not faithfully complied with the agreement you have signed? I don't know, Mr. Secretary, whoever
with your permission,
yes, I have so
Jong.
many questions, but
Yes.
I have limited time. And that's why I'm trying to compound all these questions all together.
Thank you. We appreciate that,
Yes.
the holistic approach, Madam Chair. If I may turn them over to you, Sec Densing, with your permission, Your Honor, because they were the ones in charge of the Last Mile Schools program under the school infrastructure strand previously.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Your Honor. With respect to the Last Mile School program, the problematic year for implementation was the 2021. Primarily because it was the only time that the procurement of the Last Mile School was centralized. And there were 3 contractors that was chosen. So when the infrastructure strand was created, we talked to the 3 contractors, giving them a chance to continue. And after they were given a certain deadline, only one of the contractor was able to finish, I think, 95% of what was allotted to it. The other one is around 25 or 30%. The balance, I think, they will not be able to build anymore. And the third contractor had zero output, and this is the contractor which was in charge of Mindanao. And we are now in the process of terminating those contractors who really did not comply with their requirements.
Those are the facilities, no?
Last Mile School po.
Okay. Now, what about, Madam Chair, just to wrap up, no? Kasi kanina po, they were asking about the delay of the, I don't know, the delivery of these computers, no? Sometime, I think I heard the Secretary earlier that there are about how many worth of millions of pesos of computers that are still stockpiled in a certain warehouses, and you need to ask assistance from our military just so that they can be delivered to their
Going
end
back to
users.
2020 po.
Yes, 2020. So up to now, no? So gusto ko lang i-compartmentalize, Madam Chair, if I may, no? Gusto ko lang there's a problem with the ongoing construction of facilities, and there's also a problem of the delivery of these equipments, school equipments. I'm asking, why is the DepEd did not even gain or have not even filed or gained for liquidated damages against these contractors? That's a simple reason, no? Apart from you have already paid 211.2 211 million pesos as mobilization fees. Now, I'm just wondering, why are we spending so much money for a certain equipments that whose suppliers have not faithfully delivered as scheduled based on your contract? Bakit ganun na nagka-problema tayo? I think that's the thing that you need to that's the thing that you need first to address. No? And then now we are asking for 10 billion budget for the same program, and yet you have not utilized, you have not properly, you did not even file for a complaint against all these earring suppliers, Madam Chair. That is my last manifestation
also
in
the
question.
figures. Sir, the last mile school in the budget for 2021 for last mile school is 1.5 billion only. 1.5 billion again in 2022 and 23, and 3 billion in 2024. Opo. That's for the last mile school.
Oh, yeah.
So for 2022 up to 2024, we've started to devolutionize the procurement to the division level. So it's much faster. That's why in 2022, 23, and 24, the procurement is faster. But again, there's still, you're right, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair, Your Honor, that there's still logistical issues because when they bid, they would eventually find out that they would have a hard time delivering the raw materials to the last mile school
Madam Chair,
areas.
with all due respect, no, it's not just the logistical challenges. You have at least, at the very least, file a complaint for those suppliers who have not fully and faithfully delivered these equipments. No, it's not only a logistical. Ano, kasi the more that you delay, it's actually disenfranchisement. It's a disservice to our students, especially to those who are in need of all these equipments. Remember, Mr. Secretary, I came from a far-flung area. So, kaya nga po mayroong last mile self-schools program tayo because precisely we want to have all the areas in the Philippines. We're scattered everywhere. We're a archipelagic country. And may mga rural areas dyan na kailangan talaga ng quality na services sa ating education. The more that you don't do anything about this, at least man lang have these suppliers answer legally or whatever, just complain. Because this is actually a disservice to the people, to our students in the far-flung areas.
Madam Chair, quick response.
Yes, please wrap up.
For the 2021, we've already initiated.
Now you're asking 10 billion pesos additional, and you have yet to actually utilize the remaining funds.
Yeah, Your Honor,
And
we did not ask for a 10 billion.
No, I think the Secretary, if I may heard correctly, that's 10 billion pesos.
3 billion.
It's in the proposed
It's in the
NEP,
proposed.
Your Honor, not
Okay.
in the wish list, but in the
Okay.
original agency submission to DBM, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for that correction, Mr. But let me just finally, say, Madam
Please
Chair,
wrap up,
yes,
Congressman.
please again, very short lang po. Please, under your stewardship, Secretary Angara, I hope that we can see at least a sense of accountability. No, I think it's time. Part of that review that you have recommended, reevaluation of the processes, the policies. I think we also need to run after those people who have deliberately, pinag-ano tayo, kumbaga parang andun yung deliberate way na talagang niloko tayo.
Yes, sir.
No?
Yes.
For that, Madam Chair, that's my final remark.
Yes, Your Honor. We will go after these people, and the suggestion to pay special attention. Tututukan po namin, Mr. Congressman Adyong, itong programang ito dahil ito yung pinakadapat tinutulungan natin sa educational system po natin. Sa ibang bansa, kapag dehado ang isang eskwelahan, dehado mga bata, yun ang binibigyan ng pinakamalaking tulong o pondo. Parang dito sa atin, di nangyayari po yun. But we will make sure that changes, Your Honor.
May nakasuhan ba, Secretary, in line with that question?
Madam
not
Chair,
sure, Your Honor.
tineterminate namin yung contractor dun sa Mindanao, and we will also ask them to be blacklisted.
Minsan ho kasi baka dapat, one thing I'm thinking about, Your Honor, Madam Chair, is baka dapat ilipat na namin sa DPWH just like the construction of the classrooms. Kasi construction din naman ho ito eh. So I think mas kabisado ho nila yung sino yung mga gumagawa, sino yung mga hindi maasahan. Dahil minsan, kumukuha kami ng contractor pero na-blacklist na pala ng DPWH. So I think the more practical thing is really to maybe put a special provision that it can be, or maybe if it's within the power of the committee, to ensure that the implementation along with the construction is with your permission. That's just a suggestion, Your Honors.
We will take note of that. The Senior Vice Chair also is taking note of that. In line with that question, may we ask the department to submit a report on the status of these contractors for
Do that,
our
Madam-
file?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Before we proceed with other interpellators, the Chair will declare for a 30-minute lunch break to give ample time for our DepEd family and other members also of the committee to have our lunch. The Chair declares for a 30-minute suspension. We resume at 1 p.m.